So one of the drawbacks to doing the overnight show is we usually don't get to give anything away. And that sucks. Those daytime shows get to give stuff away. But every once in a while, they throw us a bone. So some exciting news here that I want to pass on. And it's not just our show. It's all of Fox Sports Radio. But they included our show. How nice of that is of management to include our program. So Fox Sports Radio has teamed up with our friends at tirerack.com. You hear us talk about tirerack.com a lot. It's a good company. They've got a good product. Everyone needs tires these days, right? And that's just the way it is. And so to give away a set of 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, a set of 4 brand new tires. How cool is that? Yeah. Valued at up to $1,500 every 2 weeks. So it's not just a one-time giveaway. No. Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks during this summer. And that's right, 3 lucky listeners will receive a set of 4 tires plus installation, taxes, and fees, valued at up to $1,500. And it can be yours. Right? Yeah. It's the Summer of Tire Rack Sweepstakes. Enter daily at foxsportsradio.com to increase your chances to win. Yes, you. Not him or not him. They're not eligible. But you can register to win every single day to improve your chances. A winner will be selected every 2 weeks between now and August 27th for a set of 4 brand new tires. Here's the key part. Listen closely. To enter, here's what you do. All right? Get the rules and enter. Visit foxsportsradio.com. And I would really like somebody that listens overnight to win, because it would upset management greatly if that happens. So I'm pulling for you, the overnight nocturnal listener, to win these tires. It's sponsored by tirerack.com, the way tire buying should be. Again, if you want to enter, foxsportsradio.com, enter every single day, all summer long, and you can smell the rubber of brand new tires. And you can thank your friends at tirerack.com and Fox Sports Radio. So that is the deal on that.
New developments in Lost Wages, Nevada. If you have not heard, and maybe not, we learned over the weekend that the Raiders quarterback, their new shiny toy, Jimmy Garoppolo, did he pass or fail the team physical? He passed. Just like he's supposed to do during games. He passed the physical and is expected to be on the field, ready to go at the start of training camp. Garoppolo will not go on the PUP list, better known as the physically unable to perform list. You might remember, if you saw the NFL last season, Jimmy Garoppolo was starting for the 49ers until he wasn't starting for the 49ers anymore. He missed the final 8 games. Somebody named Brock Purdy, we had never heard of him, but he came in and played well for Garoppolo. But Garoppolo missed the final 8 regular season games of the regular season and also the playoffs there due to a foot injury. It was mangled enough that he eventually had to go to the operating table. He had surgery back in March, and that was after he signed with Vegas. He had an operation that caused a kerfluffle with Mark Davis. He almost choked on his P.F. Chang's. He was like, wait a minute, that's a spicy egg roll right there. He was very upset by that, the Raiders owner. So let us discuss the question, can the Raiders now exhale that Jimmy Garoppolo has passed his training camp opening physical? And I'm going to go first here, and I am shaking my head rapidly no. I've got Wile Coyote and meteorology and Dua Lipa. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the building blocks of a Marginal Maller monologue. So, A, to answer the question, can the Raiders exhale now that Garoppolo has passed the training camp physical? I'm curious as to how this went down. Did Jimmy Garoppolo legitimately pass the physical? Were there some shenanigans going on? Was there some funny business going on? Did he pass with flying colors? Or was this one of those wink, wink, nudge, nudge type deals between some team doctor and somebody higher up with the franchise. You hear rumblings that kind of hokey-pokey activity does go on. If you want to find a way to pass a physical, if the team wants you to pass a physical, you can find a doctor that will pass the physicals. Funny business is the way it is described. Now, in terms of taking a deep breath, there's no chance. Because if you take a deep breath, the toxic dust will get in your lungs everywhere. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he was a cartoon character, would be Wile E. Coyote. He's the Wile E. Coyote of the NFL. When he plays and is able to perform, he often plays at a very high level. I don't know that I would go genius level of football, but he's pretty good. And most often, though, he ends up mangled. And so it's the Acme anvils that drop on his head. It's the blown up by dynamite, the sticks of dynamite with the Acme label on them, dropped from the top of a cliff down a mountainside, squished by rocks, run over by trains, etc., etc., etc. Now, in pigskin lingo, for Garoppolo, it's been fractured foot, shoulder sprain, messed up thumb, fractured thumb, calf strain, high ankle sprain, this sprain, that sprain. We all get a sprain. Those injuries are only the past couple of years for Garoppolo. It would be much simpler to tell you what hasn't hurt him than what has, but if you watch the NFL, you know that. There's a 75% chance that the Raiders, with Garoppolo playing, will have to play at least multiple games without Jimmy G at quarterback. Brian Hoyer, for now, is playing B. So Josh McDaniels is cooked. Now, turning the page on that. A popular topic of conversation the last 2 weeks has been the disheveled running backs around the NFL. I've been told we flogged this story, flogging a dead horse. So the devaluation of running backs is an ongoing story. It's evolving in front of our eyes and ears and the whole thing. And we had a bit of a new development over the weekend. So star running backs from around the league hopped on the old Zoom call over the weekend to discuss solutions, possible solutions. Now, there are all kinds of outrageous ideas being tossed out. A running back boycott. All running backs avoid going to practice in the offseason. There's also been talk of a running back group get-together where the running backs work out together but not with the teams. There's been chatter about a league-wide boycott where the other players stand by the running back. And my favorite is the malingering one, where the NFL union, a big shot at the union, is like, well, yeah, just fake an injury. That's all you got to do. Just if every running back fakes an injury, then that'll move the needle. So we bring this up because they had a get-together. Nothing major was announced after the Zoom conference call. Hard to believe that didn't work. We've all had Zoom calls where nothing happened. Anyway, the Browns running back Nick Chubb, Chubba-Lub-Lub, was part of this meeting, this get-together, the meeting of the minds, and he laid out a very grim scenario for running backs now and in the future. He said, there's really nothing we can do, Nick Chubb of the Browns said. Quote, we're kind of handcuffed with the situation. Quote continues. We're the only position that our production hurts us the most. As we get out the tiny violin here for Chubb, he said, if we, meaning the running backs, go out there and run 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year they're going to say that you're probably worn down. It's tough, Chubb stated. It hurts us at the end of the day. Apparently not at the beginning of the day, but only the end of the day. So what is your perspective on Browns running back Nick Chubba-Lub-Lub? Nick Chubb saying there's really nothing that running backs can do about the contracts they're getting in the NFL circa 2023. So I did a double take on this. I said, wait a minute. This is somebody that actually has common sense. This is sage wisdom. It's like running backs in the NFL and the salaries they make at this point, it's like meteorology. You can use a weather app and check the forecast. You can plan your wardrobe accordingly. But sometimes things get out of your control, right? Unexpected storms, depending on where you live, unexpected storms happen, clouds pop up, rain starts coming down from the heavens. And then you then have to cope with the situation. You have no control over the situation. You just have to cope with it. The NFL owners have running backs coming and going. It's not really the owners. It's the nerds in the front office. They've decided that this is the way it is going to be, and it's worked out well for them. And as Nick Chubb laid out, you produce and you have dents and scratches. For example, you look at a former Minnesota Viking running back who's available right now in the market, and he's been very productive the last 4 years. But what happened? He crossed the Rubicon, crossed the 1,500 threshold, 1,500 career touches. So now it's like, well, you've got too much mileage on the odometer. And if you don't produce, then you're expendable. If you live up to expectations, but you do not exceed expectations, then you're just roster spam. So handcuffs, chokehold, standing in quicksand, however you want to do it. Now, last word here. So let's go over to the Jets. The Jets, over the weekend, getting a lot of attention. They had not one, not two, but how about multiple fights break out all over? It was fight night for the New York Jets. Now, the reporters, as they often do, questioned the head coach about this. In this case, Robert Saleh, the motivational speaker / head coach of the Jets, as to his thoughts on the events that took place. Now, if you didn't hear what he had to say, maybe not, Saleh gave his players the same advice he gives to his 7 children when it comes to fighting. In fact, I think we have the audio on this. Rather than me tell you what Robert Saleh said, why don't we listen to him explain in detail his advice and his wisdom on training camp fights. Let's go to the audio tape.
Guys, it's training camp. These guys are fighting for their livelihood, right? They're trying to get on teams. They're trying to compete their tail off to get into a starting lineup, to earn a spot on the roster, to earn a role. And so fights are going to happen. And it's like I tell them when you're fighting with your family, you got to rule as a family. I tell my 7 kids, keep it below the neck, above the waist. So the skirmishes are going to happen. Don't throw a punch. You're going to get in your shoving match. Get on, move on, get over with it. We got a lot of stuff to do. But they're going to happen, and to pretend like they're not going to happen, you're just fooling yourself. But that's a product of people competing their tails off, trying to earn something more than it is just uncontrolled anger.
Okay, so that was the soundbite. You heard the money part of that. How do you react to Robert Saleh's advice on Jets fighting at training camp? So I thought it was outstanding. This is one of those things that happens every year, and the reaction always is surprising to me. Like the faux outrage, the pearl clutching. I can't believe the Jets are fighting, or whatever team it is, during training camp. I thought that advice was outstanding, and it's really great advice in any situation. If you're going to fight with someone who's a coworker, someone who's in the family, keep it below the neck, above the waist. That's great advice. Below the neck, above the waist. You're not going to mess with the head. You're not going to mess with the junk. And that's the way to do it, right? And certain storylines have become so cliche over the years that we've been watching all this, and the training camp fight is near the very top of the list. It's as much a part of summer practice as running gassers, and the pearl clutching is pointless, and as that song from Dua Lipa goes, boys will be boys. Many of the fights are more for show than anything else. Right? It's like, get the coach's attention. It's like, hey, listen, they're going to find out who I am. They're going to know my name. They're going to remember me, that I am such a warrior. I'm so methodical. I'm so diabolical that I am going to get into a rhubarb on a toasty, steamy day at training camp, and that is how I'm going to make my mark. You just watch. They'll go back and they watch that all 22, and they'll be, oh, I can't believe it. It's amazing.